Afcon is full of storylines, and we saw so many more in the round of 16. Just some incredible games and favourites getting knocked out. You've got the Senegalese, the Moroccans, the Cameroonians, and of course the Egyptians, all getting knocked out in the round of 16. And the 8 teams in the round of in the quarterfinals in 2021. Or 2022 actually, in 2022 are completely different 8 teams to the ones we have this year. How quickly things can change in African football, but let's just get straight into it because, wow, we've got some storylines. Nigeria versus Angola is the first game, and the Nigerians have had absolutely everything gifted to them at this tournament. Against Ivory Coast, a penalty, right, just give them a penalty, let Afcon score. Against Guinea-Bissau, an own goal to give it to them. Against Cameroon, the first goal so gifted to Victor Osimhen, who then squared it to Ademola Lookman. But how good are this team actually? And will they beat Angola? They are by far the favourites, but it's not as straightforward as that. Angola have the fighting spirit. After getting a man down, the goalkeeper sent off early on in the game against Namibia, then managed to score with 10 men, then get Namibia down to 10 men, and then just batter them. And that third goal from Mabululu, oh my gosh, the finish, the curve is sensational. It is unbelievable what he did there. And I feel like the entire team, I feel like Gelson Darlow was really, really good. I feel like the centre mid, Freddie, had a boss game. And I feel like they're riding on such a high because no one expected them to be here. And after that emphatic win, now they're coming up against a giant that is definitely extremely, extremely beatable. They haven't got a great manager. They don't set up well, to be honest. And going forward, even with the likes of Aussie men, they're not much of a threat unless you gift them something. So if they play everything by the book, if they don't make any individual mistakes, I think that Angola are going to win this game 1-0. I don't know. Like Nigeria, I don't know if I'm convinced by them. Now, this might be a massive shock to people, and I haven't predicted many nice things about Nigeria, so I apologise if you think I'm a Nigeria hater. I would love to see them prove me wrong. But to be honest, man, they're just not as good as they're meant to be with the players that they have. Now, someone who I think is very good is Ola Aina. I feel like whoever he came up against in that Cameroon game, he absolutely locked down. I feel like the centre-back partnership of Ajayi, Troost-Ekong and Calvin Bassey, I thought it wasn't bad, right? But again, they didn't get really threatened by the Cameroonians. Ademola Lookman was boss. I think Ademola Lookman was very, very good. Managed to get himself 2 goals on the day. Osimhen finally did something. But I don't think that this team is all that. I don't think they're all that. And I think Angola are going to win it 1-0. Boy, oh boy, this could be horribly wrong. This could be a clip, this moment. But I'm sticking to it. I think Angola are making it to the semi-finals, which would be obscene. But I think they're doing it. DR Congo versus Guinea. DR Congo beating Egypt on penalties. Go 1-0 up, then concede a penalty, 1-1. Egypt go down to 10 men, but DR Congo can't take advantage of it until penalties when they do win the game. And now is a great moment for them as well, because I don't think they expected to be in the quarterfinals, coming up against a beatable side like Guinea with a chance of making to the semis. But Guinea, they'll be happy playing DR Congo as well. They won't feel threatened by them. So I feel like it's going to be an even, very, very close game. And DR Congo have talent. They've got Yohan Wissa. They've got Cedric Bakambu. Off the bench, they've got Silas. They've got Simone Banza. And the centre-back, Chancel Mbemba, I feel like he's so good. Physically, he is so strong, man. He is so strong. And you don't want to go 1v1 against him. But Sekou Guirassy might be someone that does do that. Came off the bench against Equatorial Guinea. Didn't really do much, Sekou Guirassy. But could this be his moment? He's waiting for his moment. And it could come in this game. But overall, I think DR Congo, I've got the better squad. And I feel like they've had a very, very good tournament as well. I mean, they drew against Morocco 1-1, and they would have felt slightly hard done by because they could have won that game. They drew all 3. They've drawn all 4 games, right? They couldn't score against Tanzania, couldn't break them down, drew 0-0, but they were happy with how they went through. Drew against Zambia 1-1, but they definitely should have won that, dominated that game. And then obviously, until penalties, drew against Egypt. So, draw specialists. How are they going to be up against Guinea, who Federico Bicoro was sent off for Equatorial Guinea, in which I thought was a very harsh red card. And then Emilio Nsue missed a penalty, and it took a 98th minute winner from Bayo to win the game for Guinea. So, this is the shocks that you get at this tournament, and this is why I think this matchup will be great, because these sides are so evenly matched. But I think DR Congo are going to win this game 2-1. I could be so wrong on this because this could go either way. But I feel like DR Congo just have a little bit more edge to them. And I feel like they're going to do it. But I really won't be surprised if this goes beyond the 90. And then next up, we have got this. The storyline for this team might be the best one at this tournament. And that of course, I'm talking about is the Ivory Coast. Because the Ivory Coast, going into a tournament at home as one of the favourites to win it with a really, really stacked squad. They go into their first game against Guinea-Bissau. They win 2-0. They look dominating. Then against Nigeria, they look like the better team. They give away a penalty. They lose that game 1-0. You say, fine, we got unlucky. They need a win against Equatorial Guinea in the last game. They concede 4, lose 4-0, look like they're going out, only for Zambia on the last day to crumble and Ghana to crumble to give Ivory Coast their spot in the knockouts. But Ivory Coast sacked their manager, so now the assistant has taken over. He's now managing them, and I'm just confused. I'm just extremely, extremely confused because all I can say is they're still in the tournament. They sacked their manager. They lost 4-0. They came up against Senegal, yet they managed from 1-0 down to win the game on penalties in front of their home crowd. And you have to be considering them as a favourite for this tournament right now, even though they're up against a very good Mali side. However, one thing I will say is the fact that the talent in this game from both sides is impeccable. I think they both have proper ballers on each team. And Mali, they beat Burkina Faso 2-1. By the way, can we talk about the Edmund Tapsoba own goal? That might be the worst. That looks almost like match fixing. If you haven't seen it, go check out the own goal. But then Lassine Senayoko fires one in. I rate that guy so highly. I rate the entire Mali team. I feel like they're so good at what they do. They play a very attractive brand of football, and they could upset Ivory Coast, no problems about it. In terms of other standout players for them, I feel like up front, I mean, they started Adama Traore, not the Adama Traore. This guy plays for Hull and stuff. In the midfield, no Yves Bissouma again, right? Yves Bissouma was just left on the bench, didn't even get on at all, didn't even come off. Amadou Haidara was solid again, as always. But that man, Hamari Traore, right back for Real Sociedad, the captain of the team, I thought he was fantastic against Burkina Faso. And Burkina Faso only scored off a penalty, a handball, very, very unlucky. So Mali are a great side. I think the one thing they lack maybe is a little bit of, well, first of all, finishing, right? They can create chances, but they can't score. But do they have the firepower to take on Ivory Coast, whose side is very, very good? But sometimes they just get the wrong lineup. They don't play the correct players. But I feel like against Senegal, after Senegal scored, Ivory Coast dominated the game. And that back line, right, I don't know, I think Diamonde is injured, so Kusunu came in to cover for him, and I thought he was extremely, extremely solid. And then the midfield, Seko Fofana is just such a baller. And then the penalty, Frank Kessié scores, right? I mean, who wins that? I think Nicolas Pepe, was it, that won the penalty? I don't remember exactly. Very poor from Edouard Mendy, by the way. That's all I can say. That was poor from Mendy. But Nicolas Pepe won the penalty, and then they scored, and then in front of the home crowd, you just knew that they were going to win that penalty shootout. And Edouard Mendy, in terms of penalty saving, has got to be one of the worst goalkeepers out there. So if they go to penalties, they now have the experience of that. But I feel like this is going to be a close game. I feel like this is going to be so close, and I feel like this could be a hot take. I think, well, that's actually not really a hot take. I think whoever wins this game is going to win the tournament. I think that if whoever wins this game, I feel like they will be the winner of the tournament. I feel like the winner of the tournament will come from this game. So this game is going to be crucial. And I feel like we're going beyond the 90. I think it's going to be 1-1. And we're going to penalties. And the Ivorians, man, the storyline is going to continue. Sacking your manager mid-tournament and then maybe winning it. The storyline is continuing. Ivory Coast are going through against Mali, but damn it, I love Mali. I absolutely love Mali, and I would love to see them do well. I like both these teams. Now, I want both these teams to do well, but whoever wins this game, they've got a very good chance because they'll be coming up against the DR Congo / Guinea in the semi-final, both very beatable teams. But if Mali could finish, I feel like they'll win this game. But I've gone with Ivory Coast to do it. There you go. And then the final game. Two massive underdogs. How have they got here? Cape Verde versus South Africa. Now, Cape Verde, They came up, obviously, against a very, very solid, right, Mauritania side. Mauritania did manage to beat Algeria, of course, but they didn't have a shot on target against Cape Verde, and it was just a matter of time before it happened, and off the penalty, Ryan Mendes scores. Very stupid given away penalty, by the way. It was headed back to the goalkeeper, and before the goalkeeper got there, the player got there first. The goalkeeper took out the player, and then it was a penalty in the 85th minute. That is just not how you want to capitulate, but it is exactly what they did. And Cape Verde, man, the storyline is they top the group with Egypt and Ghana. Now they're in the quarterfinals, facing against a beatable South Africa side who have a storyline of their own. They beat Morocco, the favourites for this tournament, 2-0. They go 1-0 up with a very, very nice goal. And then they give away a penalty and in the 85th minute, and it looks like, it's done. And Ashraf Hakimi hits the crossbar before Sofian Amrabat gets himself sent off for a challenge around the edge of the box. And from that exact same thing, Mokoena scores a delightful free kick. I mean, the two players, Makgopa and Mokoena, man, the Max and the Mox, and South Africa just look again, mate, Bafana is back. They are back. No Shabalala, but they are back. And they beat They beat this very, very strong Morocco side, who were the favourites of the tournament. Remember what they did at the World Cup. So we've got two great sides coming up against each other. And I feel like, again, we're going the distance. It's going to finish 1-1. But we haven't had any extra time winners of this tournament yet. So we're going to see one now, and I feel like it'll be Cape Verde. South Africa have been great. But man, this Cape Verde team, I think they are so solid defensively, which I think South Africa maybe lack more slightly, right? They conceded 2 to Mali in the first game, of course, but since then they haven't conceded a goal, so maybe I'm wrong in that, but I think Cape Verde are going to nick it 2-1. And the Man United flop himself, Bebe, what a tournament that guy is having. Well done, Bebe, man. Respect Bebe, everyone. But now that I've predicted all these games, let's see how many of them actually will be correct. And let me know in the comments what you guys think is going to happen. But I'm so excited to be watching this tournament. We have got the amount of shocks. I thought Senegal were going to win it after the performance in the groups and who they drew and stuff like that. It wasn't the case. Now, Ivory Coast are going to win it. I think Ivory Coast will win this tournament. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.